Career Opportunities is a frustrating film because it has some of the most cute and keen Jennifer Connelly scenes wrapped in what should be your John Hughes lighthearted, coming-of-age romance film like a Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but unfortunately like a burrito that needs to be double-wrapped and wasn't. The film suffers from a lack of care in story delivery and staying on tone that ultimately makes watching it only expose you as the perverted Jennifer Connelly fan that you really are. Since this video is a review instead of a film suggestion like some of the other vids I've put out, this one will assume that you've seen the film before, or you'll have to live with this short synopsis. Jim Dodge, played by Frank Whaley, gets fired from his latest wage cage job and becomes an overnight janitor for Target after an ultimatum from his dad to either find another job or move to St. Louis. On his first night on the job, he gets locked in along with Josie McClellan, played by Jennifer Connelly, who had attempted to grab a 5-finger discount, but then chickened out and took a nap in the dressing room instead.
You know me for almost 17 years. We went to the same schools from kindergarten on up.
I knew of you, but I didn't know you personally.
The two have known each other for a while, but only really connect after they both confess their undying passion for roller skating.
Well, for 3/4 of one verse of a slow song, we danced together.
You reeked of Stridex.
God damn it!
Oh, no, that was Larry Fry.
I'm sorry.
She's so beautiful. And I'm the town liar.
At some point, Josie discloses that she has $52,000 in her purse and that they should both go to California so that Josie can escape her father.
You pull another stunt like you did today, I'll beat the living daylights out of you.
Presumably, they're going to go down there to do some more roller skating. However, their roller skating is cut short when the failures of the film, who we've had glimpses of throughout the movie, show up to rob the Target. At some point, and honestly understandably, they fall for Jennifer's seduction, set up earlier in the film.
Honey, I want you to meet Bill...
Bob. Bob Bosenbeck.
I'll beat the living daylights out of you.
And decide to take her with them, only to have her betray them and drive off, allowing Jim time to grab a shotgun and save the Target.
Attention, Target shoppers.
One leap of logic later, and the two are sitting by a pool in Hollywood. Or Jim would. The film was written by John Hughes of Home Alone, The Breakfast Club, and Pretty in Pink fame, among others, and directed by Brian Gordon.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Basically, the plot goes down tremendously in quality the farther away we get from John Candy's scenes.
Better not, I'm bigger than you are.
When the scene first started to play out, I thought it was going to be interesting if Jim had actually landed the operations manager job and was forced to face the responsibilities of his big-time talk. While the joke still works as far as the comparison to the night cleanup boy position and the further setup for the romantic situation, it's really not all that satisfying.
No, he's right here. What do you mean he missed the plane? Then who the hell am I talking to?
The main issue is really the character of Jim Dodge, because he's unfortunately annoying.
You're the town liar, right?
What? I'm a lying monk with an Oedipus complex and an appetite for home cooking. Don't forget, you're the indecisive shoplifter.
Yes! Exactly.
Got a loose towel here. First thing in the morning, I want you to take some epoxy cement and take care of this. I don't need a lawsuit, okay?
When I accepted the post of president, Grand Poobah of Target.
A pathological liar with delusions of grandeur, whose charm is just a rich snob who barely has time for you.
I just can't afford to be capricious and carefree like yourself. I gotta set my sights on something and really go for it.
Night janitor?
You've never heard of sashimi? You gotta be kidding.
No, and I apologize. You know, I can't repeat things like that.
Don't think about it. It's all right. I mean, as I said, I think you've gotten the wrong information. Going to Paris on an F-14. Got a little peace meeting with the vice president of Bulgaria. Business, you know? Then I'm going to Venice for a big spaghetti dinner with the Princess of Austria. Beautiful lady. But if people are calling me that, it's only because they're small, cheap, petty, and jealous.
I mean, Jim isn't completely unhuman as a 21-year-old trying to figure out who he is while also being a slacker. He's growing up in an American society that expects him to move on and become his career, while he enjoys living at home, lying to the local kids, and slacking around while indulging in daydreams. But this also leaves us unclear as far as the messaging on what Jim's goals are, or why we should be rooting for his success. Him holding up criminals by gunpoint, and then presumably quitting his job to help Josie run away from her father to Hollywood, isn't exactly character growth or accomplishing some goal on Jim's part. Or am I just supposed to be happy that he's with Jennifer Connelly, having fully fallen in love with her after taking in the rocking horse scene? The character of Josie McClellan has different but similar issues to Jim. Other than the fact that she's being played by Jennifer Connelly, Josie doesn't really have much going on that we can relate to. Not to downplay her abusive father and all that.
I'll beat the living daylights out of you.
But the directors decided to focus more on Josie's sexual antics rather than the father's abuse.
I'll beat the living daylights out of you.
Even as a setup for later sexual antics that save the day, somehow. I mean, couldn't we at least get a one-liner about how they both have a passion for roller skating? The two robbers, played by the brothers Dermont and Kieran Mulrooney, are the most annoying part of the film, and it really should have just been cut out entirely. I can understand wanting to add villains and tension to the plot and things like that, but this really isn't a story that needs one. In fact, they had a perfectly well set up villain in the form of Jim's supervisor.
You know, I was employed for a brief period at Del Taco.
I don't care about your Del Taco experiences, boy.
The one who locked them in initially, and he was way more intimidating than the Amoron twins.
Boo.
Moreover, their inclusion detracts and distracts from the story by pretending to be some Home Alone-esque slapstick comedy.
Too late, they're here. Ned, hold your fire. Edenhauser's, hold your fire. Tommy and Sporting Goods, hold your fire. Ned, hold your fire. There are infrared scopes trained on your head.
We didn't want this. We didn't want this.
The girl you want, not us.
Just really comes out of nowhere tonally, and it isn't even as deadly as something in Home Alone and doesn't really move the story forward. It's like a second, even more of a failure of a film, just crash landed into this one and took it over. And that's a real shame, because there's a lot of shots in this film that are really quite kino. There's a reason that a lot of these scenes have been edited into multiple music videos, and not unpopular ones.
Career Opportunities is not a great movie. It ends much too abruptly. But I like these characters, and I think they stand for a lot of troubled young people.
To me, this movie was completely negligible. It was long at 80 minutes. The characters were absolutely without any interest at all, and that includes Jennifer Connelly, who was very beautiful to look at, and who was very good in that Dennis Hopper movie earlier last year. Frank Whaley, who was kind of a Eddie Bracken look-alike and kind of plays an Eddie Bracken character, seemed totally inexplicable in this film. I didn't understand where his personality was coming from, and every single thing that happens is completely manipulated, all about the burglars turning up, the cop and the father looking for the girl, the people who arrive and leave from the store and so forth. I just sat there in stunned disbelief at how completely lacking in any inspiration or interest this movie was from beginning to end.
What are we gonna have to eat the bench? Do you wanna get on top? You said something that wasn't true.
No. No, I said that I can have sex when I want to, and I do. I do. You're on top.
Did you want to be on top?
Oh, no. No, I'm just fine right where I am. Sure.
Oops.
Have you seen Josie McClellan?
Oh, of course. Dark hair, green eyes, beautiful. Oh, yeah, of course.
Boobies.
Jennifer is a beautiful and aesthetic woman, and that's the film's only redeeming aspect. As I mentioned before, I think the film would have been better if Jim had more responsibility, such as if he landed the manager job, say because Candy's character wanted to save face during the interview.
Yeah, we just closed the deal. Uh-huh. Oh, he's a slam dunk, too. Yeah,
Then Candy, along with the supervisor, become the main antagonists of the film, similar to the Jeffrey Jones and Eddie McClurg characters in Ferris Bueller, trying to get Jim fired or make him quit. In their ongoing effort to get rid of Jim, CD intentionally has the supervisor lock Jim in during a forced overnight shift alone, and then sends some burglars in to scare him off. But they don't expect Josie McClellan to still be inside. The film can then play out much of the same way it does theatrically, but it puts more on the line, adds a villain with an understandable motive besides just burglar, and adds more of that John Hughes magic realism of a slacker landing a top job that they don't deserve and allowing him to continue his slacker antics. Part of the fun of a John Hughes movie is the fantasy of a rich suburban lifestyle. The setting of a Target with a ton of stuff to do is a great idea in this regard. The mix of an Emilio Estevez and Molly Ringwald character to form Josie McClellan, and then, say, Ferris Bueller combined with Anthony Michael Hall to form Jim Dodge, could have been another set of classic John Hughes characters. The actors were up for the job, but something was just off. John Hughes either wasn't willing or was unwilling to give this film the care it really needed to be distinct from the success of something like Home Alone, which came out the year before, although the scripts were in production around the same time. And so instead, we're left with this frustrating film. Some might have fonder memories if they caught it as a local TV rerun, but removed from the nostalgic CRT glow, the only real reason to watch career opportunities today is to appreciate Jennifer Connelly.
If I run and he brings me back, or if I go back on my own, either way, he's just gonna beat the shit out of me, so it doesn't really make a difference.
What, literally?
I'll beat the living daylights out of you.